Well, ask and you shall receive. That's what Senator Rand Paul is learning this week after he sent 2 letters to FBI Director Robert Mueller demanding for the agency to explain its domestic drone program as well as the rules that govern it. The letter sent by the Assistant Director of the Office of Congressional Affairs, Stephen Kelly, reads, quote, "Every request to use UAVs for surveillance must be approved by senior FBI management at FBI headquarters and in the relevant FBI field office. Without a warrant, the FBI will not use UAVs to acquire information in which individuals have a reasonable expectation of privacy under the Fourth Amendment. To date, there has been no need for the FBI to seek a search warrant or judicial order in any of the few cases where UAVs have been used." Now, that letter went on to admit that the FBI has used drones in domestic airspaces in 10 instances. 8 were criminal investigations and 2 were deemed national security cases. Meanwhile, the Federal Aviation Administration announced on Friday that it has certified 2 types of drones for civilian use. To talk all things UAV related, I'm joined now by Michael Brooks. He's the producer of The Majority Report. Hi there, Michael. Let's start off by talking about the letter that the Justice Department and the FBI sent back to Rand Paul. Did we really learn anything new from it?
Hi, Megan. It's great to be talking with you. No, I don't think we really did, and I think that the response from the FBI, from the Justice Department, highlights a lot of problems that we're seeing across a lot of different areas when it comes to civil liberties and the evolution of technologies, which is that we have tremendous technological advances and we don't have policy and legal frameworks to really address or contain them. And then agencies go out, jump on these technologies, use them, push their limits, and then sort of answer questions after the fact in an unclear and ad hoc way without kind of clear legal structures around them. Now, it may be that these drones have been used positively in certain cases, and I think the issue is, not the big scary drone. The issue is the rules around them and what the frameworks are, and because, frankly, we don't really have them. And at the very least, it's not an adversarial process where these things are being contested until now a little bit.
And we are starting to get a little bit of a clearer picture as to what rules and regulations the FBI uses on domestic drones. There's a number of standards, including the Privacy Act, the FAA regulations, and FBI internal guidelines. But the letter really didn't go into that much detail about what specifically these guidelines say. Do you think we have a little bit clearer of a picture now on what they can and cannot use domestic drones for and the oversight in this process?
Not particularly. I think one really important thing is to highlight is that they say that they will use this technology. They'll get a warrant to use drones if it goes beyond someone's reasonable expectation of having their Fourth Amendment rights respected. Now, we clearly do not know what that means, and that's a very contested term in light of things like bulk data collection and dragnet surveillance from things like the NSA. That's exactly the point. We might have radically different interpretations of what we expect from the Fourth Amendment, and they're going ahead and they're using these technologies, which, by their nature, are incredibly they're invasive. They see a lot. So if it's up to them to decide what is and is not a reasonable expectation of Fourth Amendment rights, that's the problem in and of itself, as far as I'm concerned.
And meanwhile, federal regulators say that they have certified 2 types of unmanned aircrafts for civilian use. So, Michael, how big of a milestone is this? Do we know what these are going to be used for, or who will be able to use them, or anything like that?
Well, it seems like there's an emergency response component to them, which I'm not sure the distinction between civilian and local police or fire departments or something like that. That seems like potentially a great use of drones. I know that drones have been used in the fallout in Japan to do some unmanned monitoring of those situations. That seems like a good thing, is a good thing. And the other aspect, I think, has to do with wildlife monitoring and things like that. So, I think that these are potentially fine things. Obviously, it's a pretty radical technology to put in anyone's hands, and it's going to raise a lot of questions. And I think, again, our regulatory apparatus, our cultural norms, our legal frameworks are very behind what we're technically capable of doing.
So let's say one of these things flies over your house or over my house. Could I shoot it down?
Well, I guess it would depend on how good a shot you are. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I mean,
Doubting me, Michael Brooks.
I would never doubt. I would doubt myself, Megan. I'm sure you're an excellent shot. But I think you'd have to determine, is this a government plane? Is this a neighbor who's bothering you? In which case you should, definitely shoot that one down. Again, I really have no idea. I think that this is going to be generating a lot of questions we don't really clearly know the answers to. And I don't know if we should be focusing on shooting them down, but we might want to be focusing on something not randomly flying over your house or my house to begin with.
Michael Brooks, producer of The Majority Report, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.